Yes.
Okay. Legislation like Prop 39 and Measure G have resulted in OUSD public schools and charter schools competing for resources. How will you navigate this situation to ensure equitable distribution of resources, funding, and access to district-owned property?
Property. Okay, so let me just be transparent. Can you guys hear me? Okay, I'm just going to be totally transparent. I had to do some research on Prop 39 because that was one of the questions. So I reached out to a community member who is very familiar. I don't know if you guys know Kim Davis, and reached out to Kim Davis to get some more research on Prop 39. We, as a community, and if I was elected as a board member, would involve the community. Prop 39. We need to do some changes. Can you guys see me? Because my internet connection is unstable, they said.
You're frozen.
Can you guys, am I frozen?
But
Can you hear me now?
To a certain extent.
Oh, okay. Okay, District 3, my concern, and you, Kamisha, might understand this as well with WAMs. Prop 39 could happen to Prescott. They could use some of the classrooms and the charter, and they could, and what happened is they say that we're not using some of the space on campuses, but some of the spaces are used for pull out resources. And we have to do something different with Prop 39 to just bring the community. I'm all about bringing everybody together. I was raised not that I can just do something by myself. So what I would do is bring the community together, have a focus group, getting to change Prop 39 that it could protect our public schools, to protect our teachers and our students, and change that a little bit. So right now, WOM to WOMs. And then, can you hear me? Because you guys are frozen.
You're cutting in and out.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. It might be my internet connection. And so that I would get a focus group and try to change change Prop 39 and Measure G, work it out so our schools, our public schools are protected.
Great. All right,
It says legislation like Prop 39 and Measure G have resulted in OUSD public schools and charter schools competing for resources. How will you navigate this situation to ensure equitable distribution of resources, funding, and access to district-owned property?
I think there have been some adjustments made to the way that charter schools are chartered in the communities this year that are coming into effect in July, which will help the district to be able to be more effective in terms of handling how they allocate those resources equitably across the city. I also think that one of the things that's happening right now with the situation where students are not in classrooms, where students are learning either through virtual environments or, in the other ways that they're learning because of this coronavirus shelter in place circumstances, is something that gives us an opportunity to learn about different ways that we might approach the allocation of resources and space in the future. I don't think this is something that's going to go away even necessarily in the next 9 to 12 months. I mean, I think we all know that school is closed now for the rest of the year. And it's possible that with the nature of this virus, the schools may be physically closed part of next fall as well. So it's hard to know exactly what school is going to look like in terms of place. I do think that the district could do a better job and manage its resources more effectively so that we're not subsidizing or providing resources to the charter schools that we authorize in ways that we don't subsidize our own students. So I think that's one of the important things that kids need to be able to have. We need an equitable learning environment for all children in this district, in this community. And I don't think the district should be on the hook for doing more for charter schools than they do for their own kids, do for the district's kids.
Thank you.
Question is, legislation like Prop 39 and Measure G have resulted in OUSD public schools and charter schools competing for resources. How will you navigate this situation to ensure equitable distribution of resources, funding, and access to district-owned property?
Okay, so Proposition 39 with the charter schools, it has, I think our district is, and our superintendent have been using it in a way that is definitely not compliant. They've been using it in a utilized way to support our charter schools over our public resources and our students. And I don't think that it's been very helpful. It's been highly traumatic to our students and our communities, and the trust that we need from our public for our students to be able to trust our public education. With the Measure G and the funding that we have, I think that pre-corona, we had some great funding issues with that. But after this, I'm concerned about our taxes and our property parcel taxes that maybe come up with this. But I want to make sure that all of our resources are funded properly for our public students and with transparency for them as well. As far as our district property and assets, I think that in a time of like not just economic and global crisis that we have, we need to hold on and retain some of our property spaces that are still functioning in use. Just for emergency cases like this, we had a ground zero case with McClymonds just a month and a half ago, where our students needed to be housed in the place and have school sites for them to be able to be educated. And what happened was another school site of students got moved. And so instead of having all these places that are always charterized and all these school sites and houses that are already built up, we need to have spaces that just in case we have an emergency that we can have an overflow and a place for our students to be. So they're not shifted all around the district or anything like that, but we need to have places that are safe for them.
Thank you.
Legislation like Prop 39 and Measure G have resulted in OUSD public schools and charter schools competing for resources. How will you navigate this situation to ensure equitable distribution of resources, funding, and access to district-owned property?
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you. No, that's cool. Thank you. So what I know as an educator for 20 years, what I know in public schools for 20 years is that we as educators will have to stay vigilant in regards to the policies that the school board and the policies that the city provides us. Measure G, I support because it goes to Oakland schools specifically. I do not want to touch that whatsoever. But we also know that Oakland has had decades of disinvestment and charter school growth and incursion upon, the inequities of Oakland schools. We have to figure out a way to stop that, slow it down. I support our fight against Brookfield Elementary, the co-location. Prop 39 has hurt our schools too much, and I will advocate to find ways to slow down Prop 39. I will ask to rewrite, to reform Prop 39. I think that it's important. Our district resources and public funds should be allocated to public schools first. And that's really where we need to focus on. We need to demand public funds go to public schools first. Public schools have done more with less, and I'm in favor of using AB 1505, to hold charter schools accountable, as well as using Prop G to continue to fund our schools. I will fight against any rewriting of Prop G. I stand in favor of having all the funds that we can for OUSD. I support that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And would you like to add any closing remarks?
I'll ask my question of you kind of last. My closing remarks, I guess, are that I feel that this is a crucial time in the Oakland schools and their history for us to stop the example of the privatization. And Oakland was chosen with LA as two kind of like front line. This is a taxi. If we can get these districts, we're free to privatize all schools. We deserve better than that. Oakland's kids deserve better than that. They are the most wonderful kids. And we need to support them. And I just want to make sure that I say that I worked at Oakland Tech for years. I watched how the population of the school changed incredibly over those 30 years. My questions to you